What happens when you mix ancient ruins, Mediterranean sunsets, and Mickey Mouse? Shalon Still and her husband Mike just returned from a European Disney adventure that took them from the Greek islands to the Colosseum. And trust me, you'll want to hear every magical detail.
Ready for your fast pass to unforgettable adventures? Welcome to Talk Travel to Me. Featuring our Mickey Guru Travel Company expert travel advisors, this podcast will guide you in traveling with more ease, confidence, and a sprinkle of magic. Tune in for unique insights, insider info, tips, and personal travel stories that'll transform your journeys into exhilarating moments and lifelong memories. Fasten your seatbelt, grab your passport, let's embark, and let's talk travel.
Welcome back to Talk Travel to Me. I'm your host and founder of Mickey Guru Travel Company, Christy Willett. I'm so excited to be bringing this conversation to you today. So let's just jump in. What happens when you blend the luxury of a Disney cruise with the immersive magic of an Adventures by Disney tour through Rome? Well, you get a once-in-a-lifetime European adventure, and my guest today just got back from one. I am thrilled to be joined by one of our fabulous travel experts, Shalon Still, and her husband, Mike. From ancient ruins on the sparkling Mediterranean to gelato fit for a pope, their trip was packed with unforgettable moments. Today, they're here to share the highlights and essential travel tips for anyone dreaming of visiting Europe with a Disney twist. Shalon, Mike, welcome to the show. Let's start at the beginning. What made you decide this incredible combination was the trip to take?
So we actually had a trip planned in 2020 to go to Italy and do this exact tour of the Mediterranean. And unfortunately, with COVID, it was canceled. And of course, it was like a dream of of ours to do this. And we were so excited and, of course, extremely disappointed when it, ultimately got canceled. So, we said, well, we will definitely do it one day. We'll do it. And, 5 years later, we had the opportunity. We saw that Disney had some availability. We're like, you know what? Let's go Disney. We always go Disney. We love Disney cruise lines, and it's the same itinerary. Let's do it. And oh wow, look, there's Adventures by Disney in Rome too. Let's do that. That sounds amazing. So it just everything fell into place perfectly. It's almost like it was meant to be. Yeah. So we just did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's kind of cool that it lined up that way so that you could do the cruise and then just like, oh my goodness, let's just do Adventures by Disney too.
Right, because I'm all about if I'm flying that far, I want to get the most bang for my buck as far as time goes. So it's nice to be able to combine kind of two trips into one.
Yeah, I love that. So you started things off with a pre-night stay at the Hyatt in Rome, which is one of Disney's partner hotels. And then from there, you set off on some of the most iconic destinations in the Mediterranean: kayaking and snorkeling in Rhodes, strolling through the blue domed villages of Santorini, hiking Mount Vesuvius. Okay, seriously, why don't we just dive right in? Start at the beginning. What was it like arriving in Rome for your pre-cruise day? You guys had never been to Rome before, right?
No, yeah, first time. So the biggest thing, and I would do this for any and all clients and recommend it, is we pre-book private transfers from the airport to our hotel, because in Rome, the airport's it was probably like 45 minutes to get to the city center of where our hotel was. And so by having the driver pre-booked, they had our phone number, they messaged us as soon as we land. They had a sign waiting for us as soon as we left the baggage claim. He was there holding a sign with our names, helped with our luggage, nice car all the way in. He even
I think it was a Mercedes Benz. He picked us up.
He toured us around, like drove us through the city before taking us to the hotel.
He was really nice. Yeah. We drove right past the Colosseum on our way to our hotel, and he did that on purpose so that we could see it and kind of kick off our European adventure.
Yeah. So it was so much less stress doing that. Some people are like, oh, I want to take the train and save some money. But if you're going over there, you should splurge and get private transfers, because it just starts off your vacation amazing. And he dropped us right off at the Hyatt, which is like you said, one of the hotels that Disney partners with, just like they do here in the US for pre-cruise stays. So everything was like coordinated. We checked right in. Our room was actually ready right away. They didn't think it was going to be, but it was pretty ready pretty quickly, which was nice. And then they even had Disney Cruise Line representatives in the lobby that day that we could check in with. And they told us, when to show up in the morning and gave us all the information as far as like breakfast was included at a certain time, when to leave our luggage outside, because Disney will take your luggage from your hotel room and it magically appears in your stateroom on the ship. So it's amazing. You don't have to think about any of that stuff. So that was really nice.
That was pretty nice to have all that done for us, and the people there were really nice too. The people at the front desk were just really helpful, answering our questions. Um, just it was just a great start.
So when you were in Rome like that, did you get there just the one day before?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And so obviously, I'm going to ask the question. I think I know, but I may have lost count. But you sailed from the U.S. ports a time or two with Disney Cruise Line, right? What's the number we're at now?
This will be that cruise at that time was number 26 in Rome.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm
not.
behind her actually. I think I'm like 18 or 19. So
Still, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's still a lot, and you're gonna catch up, I'm sure. I have faith that she's gonna be tagging you along an awful lot, so that's cool. What is the difference in the going out of that Rome port versus what we're used to in the U.S.?
So the Rome port specifically is very far away from actual Rome. It's in a town called Civitavecchia. I think that's how you pronounce it. And I always have a struggle with that one. And it was like a good hour and a half away with minimal traffic to get there. So a lot of people don't realize that when they do a Rome cruise with any cruise line, that it's that far from the city. So you really got to make sure that you are getting transfers booked with the cruise line or private transfers. A lot of people try to take the train, and that's a huge mistake because sometimes they have strikes unexpectedly, and you could get stuck and miss your ship. So that's really a thing to be aware of when trying to get to that port.
I did hear that some people did stay in the town. But a
Mhm.
good thing to know about that is you can't walk up to the port. You actually have to take some sort of transfer to the actual terminal itself.
Yeah, it's kind of out on like a little jetty, like in a little peninsula almost.
Yeah, so you still have to take some sort of taxi or something like that.
Hmm.
That reminds me of the port of Miami. I had clients once that were like, "Oh, we're going to stay there and we'll just walk to the port." And I was like, "Yeah, you can't do that." And they were like, "Yeah, we will. We'll be all set." And then they called me that day and said, "Yeah, you were right." I was like, "I'm just saying, some you might be able to pull that off with. Miami was definitely not one." But yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So you were there just the night before at the Hyatt, then you took the Disney transportation over to, I'm not going to try to say it. You did a much better job according to Google Translate when I try to get it right from there. So I'm going to leave that one. But so that you got in the transfer, you went there and you went to get on board. What was that process like? What did you do first?
Yeah, so when you do the transfers, just kind of like here in the US, you don't really have to worry about a port arrival time because they just bring you and you as soon as you get there, you get a little card. So you get to walk in kind of as soon as you get there, which is nice. We walked in, and this type of cruise is really interesting because it seems to be a lot more repeat cruisers than first time cruisers, which is kind of flip flopped, right? Versus the US. So normally when you're a repeat cruiser, you're like, yeah, I'm going to go to the Castaway Club line because it's shorter. It was not. It was so big. And we were like, oh, what do we do?
So I just said, well, let's just go in the first time cruisers line where there's nobody, and we went right to the front counter and got our check-in process done. So
Yeah.
and passed by all the repeat cruisers and like, oh, well, okay, well, that was easy.
And there's nothing preventing you from doing that. It's not like
No.
you can't. It's just everybody went for that. I was like, why?
Yeah, we got the same lanyards, same everything, same treatment. I was like, oh, okay, that's just a shorter line. Let's just go this way.
Yeah. But I mean, it looks like any other cruise terminal that Disney tends to rent out, maybe not the ones in Orlando or Fort Lauderdale, but the signage was super easy to read. I mean, you really just felt like you were in a US type of cruise port at that time.
Yeah, it was very clean, it was organized too,
Yeah.
very organized.
It was great.
Mhm.
I love the little tip that you just dropped there, though. Don't wait in the long line. Just go to the other one because
If you're a first time cruiser, you can't go in the Castaway Club lines. You can go the opposite, which is great. So why? Why wait?
I think everyone was looking at us like, what are these people doing? It's like, oh, well.
Well, you're probably like, I've got this. Don't you worry. You
Yeah,
can stand over there. I know that for me, like, I feel like when I get in that line, I feel kind of special. Like, and at Port Canaveral, they have the platinum and
mhm,
pearl line. So, like, you're even
yeah,
separated from everybody else. I'm like, hi, I've spent my life savings and I have no retirement, like, going into this
right.
line over here. But I still feel special. It's like that fast pass lane.
Yeah.
Um, so you got on board. Now, when you guys get on board first, what do you do? Where do you go? Because I know that I just went on a cruise with some gurus and I shocked them with something that I do. So I'm curious at how you handle when you first get on board.
Usually for us, especially if it's a ship we've already been on and toured a lot, we go straight to cabanas.
Mhm.
For the buffet for lunch because I want to get in. I want to get the crab legs, the crab claws, whatever.
The Stone Star Claws is what you love.
Yeah, they actually had those. We weren't sure if they would have those in the Mediterranean because it's more of a U.S. type of thing, but I guess they ship them in. I don't know, but straight to
Hmm.
cabanas before it gets crazy busy because on embarkation day it is nuts in the buffet area. So
Yeah. Well, plus they're, after we have um, lunch, we went upstairs to try to book that dessert and be put onto the
Remy dessert
Remy
line.
dessert. Yeah,
Yeah.
because we knew we wanted to try that this time. So, there's always time when you first get on to make some adjustments to schedules and dinner
Mhm.
times and things like that. So,
Yeah.
we got put on the reservation, I guess,
Wait
the
list.
wait list,
Yeah.
yeah, for that. Um,
And we got it. A few days later, they called us and said, "Hey, you got it. Somebody canceled." So because we booked our cruise a little bit last minute, so we didn't get the pre-booking opportunity like we normally would have to get things
Mhm.
in. So that's a good tip for anybody. If you go and you can't get certain reservations, as soon as you get on the ship, go to guest services or look in the app and go wherever they tell you for the dining questions and rotation questions and stuff like that, and you can make changes usually.
and of course, I always have an ice cream cone right away. So I go up and get an ice cream cone immediately.
I love that. The traditions are great for sure.
Mhm.
So your ship stopped at some incredible ports. I need to hear about all of them, especially the ones that you really enjoyed and what you enjoyed most about them.
Yeah. Well, the first day was the sea day, so I'll just quickly touch on that. It wasn't a port day, but the amazing thing is we woke up in the morning and we were on the right hand side of the ship or the starboard side, and we saw Mount Stromboli from our
Wow.
balcony.
Yeah.
We were not expecting that at all. And had we been on the other side of the ship, we wouldn't have realized it. So if you're booking that cruise in the future, make sure you're getting a room on the right hand side because you're like, what?
Starboard side. Yeah. That was so cool. And we woke up right in the perfect time.
Perfect time. It was early. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Like 6:30.
yeah.
We're early risers. So
That's awesome.
But yeah, so the first port really loved.
Crete.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did like Crete. I think it's hard to really choose. I have two favorites actually. Rhodes was actually my favorite port, just because of where we were located. It was so close to just this ancient city. Um, that's where we also did that kayaking,
Mm.
which was amazing, just along the coastline there and the rocky cliffs and the crystal clear blue waters. That we just wanted to. We wanted to scuba dive. Actually, we were like, man, we would love to scuba dive this right now, but we didn't do it that time. The kayaking tour was amazing there. And it was about a half day. Of course, we were, getting pretty exhausted. So it was perfect amount of time. It was like 2 hours of kayaking in the ocean. Then we went back to the actual cruise line and got a shower, got cleaned up, and we went into the city because it's so close. It's within walking distance. And you go behind the fortified wall of Rhodes, and it's just like this really, how do you describe it? Just this ancient city,
Like
you know.
transported into like another time.
Yeah, we got some recommendations for some interesting restaurants to try. Um, what was that one restaurant?
It was from I don't remember the name of it, but our kayak tour guide said, go here, right? We're looking for stuff that's not touristy, but good in that area. So
Yeah,
it was off the beaten path. It was still within the fortified walls, but it wasn't along the main walk area. And as we were walking up to it, we could see the restaurant, and it was packed. And there was one on the other side. And the guy was trying to lure us in. Come here, come here. We're like, your restaurant's dead. It wasn't recommended to us, so we're going to wait in line over here. So that's a tip you always like to
Oh
do.
yeah. Every time I'm in Europe, you see one restaurant that has a line at the door and one that has no line or it's just empty inside. That's a pretty good indicator that that restaurant, either that one's not good or something's going on there. But the one with the line is probably the popular and very good food. And usually that's pretty,
Yeah.
pretty telling sign.
Yeah, that one was awesome.
But Rhodes was really fun for me. I also liked the museum. There's all these old mosaics on the you know on the floor, which
Wow. Hand done.
handmade back in the year 100. And it was just incredible.
Yeah. It was a beautiful city.
And I had another favorite one, which was Naples. I like Naples, which was our last one. Just because I love doing the tours. So that tour was Pompeii, which I just like was
Crazy.
blown away by how amazing that city was.
And we only saw, what you say, 10% of it
Yeah.
in 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of people think, I'm going to go see all of Pompeii. You can't. It's impossible. And I mean, a lot of it looks the same, so you don't really need to. They showed you the highlights, but yeah, it was a lot of walking. So
Yeah.
beware of that on these excursions for sure.
It was a long tour too. That because we did Pompeii in the morning, and then we went to Mount
Vesuvius.
Mount Vesuvius, where we climbed to the top and looked inside the cone, which was cool. And then we went for wine and food afterwards. It was like a 8-hour tour that day.
And the Vesuvius hike wasn't too bad. Like they drove us
Yeah.
up most of the mountain, and then we probably did the last 1,000 feet? Not even that, probably less than that.
Yeah, something like that.
So it wasn't. A lot of people did it. It was accessible to a lot of people.
So it sounds like the port days are longer there than it is on U.S. ports or Caribbean. Yeah.
Yeah, that was one thing I had to learn too when booking dining is normally we always book late dining just because no matter where we are, we don't like to leave ports early. But this one, usually early dining is what fills up quicker in the US versus European, because more European people tend to eat later and also you're in port later. So the later dining was the one that filled up the fastest, and we had to be put on a wait list to get on that would luckily it cleared. Because if not, we probably wouldn't have eaten in the main dining room several of the nights because we wanted to be in ports more than coming back to the ship.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you're definitely out there for long days, but it sounds like you get to see a lot more. Like in the Caribbean, the Bahamas, it's like you go out maybe for a couple of hours, maybe walk around a little bit on your own and then you're back. But this sounds like you're getting way more of that local culture.
Yeah. A lot of the Caribbean Bahama excursions, when you look them up, they're 2, 3, maybe 4 hours if you find a long one. These ones were 6, 7, 8 hours easily, most of them.
That's really interesting. All right, so we know what Mike's favorites were. Do yours line up, or did you have some different?
They do. It was really hard to pick, right? Because I loved every single stop. We also did Crete, which was really cool. And that one, we started off in like their little downtown area with the waterfront. They kind of called it, when we were doing research in advance, it was like the Venice of Greece, kind of the same little bit of a vibe. So it was a really beautiful waterfront area. But then they took us up to a private state, and we had a traditional Greek lunch served like family style. And they had dining, or not dining, they had a band playing music, and then they had dancers in their traditional outfits. And it was really cool because they had a lot of people come up on stage and do interactivity. The food was amazing. And like I said, it was served family style, but it was served like in courses, and we didn't realize what we were getting. And I wish we would have paced ourselves eating more because we ate so much. By the time that the meat got to us, we were stuffed. And they come around this corner with this giant plate of like lamb and stuff. We're like, room. I mean, we made room, but it was really good. But it was very interesting. Tried a lot of different stuff. I know you're a very adventurous eater. You've made me more an adventurous eater as of our years together. And it was different. If something was like wrapped in grape leaves, it's hard to say. And you look at it like, that's disgusting. But when you bit into it, it's like, oh, that is delicious. It was so good.
Oh, wow.
And then the other port that I really did love, but a place I want to go back to, not on a cruise, was Santorini. And just because it was absolutely packed. You see those videos of Instagram versus reality where it's like, oh, it's beautiful. And then you turn around and it's like 10,000 people. That is exactly what it was like. So, just a caution for anybody doing a cruise to Santorini. While it is beautiful, go in with that expectation of it's going to be packed. And if it's not, you're lucky. So, I would love to go back there. The people were amazing that we talked to. We even went down into a little shop down off the beaten path, and I bought some earrings that were made from lava rocks from the island and
Mhm.
talked to the local artists and stuff there. It's like I could just really see myself spending a few days there
Mhm.
talking to the people, enjoying dinner without the crowds of the cruise ship people.
Yeah, pretty sure after the cruise lines leave the area, it just gets nice and calm and quiet and peaceful there.
Yeah.
And just have a nice dinner. Yeah, but we only had two cruise ships, just ours, and I think it was a Viking cruise ship that was there too.
No, I'll have to go back and look. Okay.
Well, another one. So it was only two cruise ships, and they said at some point they actually have five that
Oh,
service
wow.
that area, and it was packed with just two.
I think it was a Norwegian ship.
Was it
It
Norwegian?
was a good size. Like it was in size comparable to the Fantasy, if not a little bit bigger.
That was a beautiful town, though. I would like to just go back there for a few days and maybe just stay there and experience it that way.
Yeah.
Like, because I think there was one time when we were doing the shopping, and the streets are really narrow. As we're walking up and down,
Mhm.
and all of a sudden this train of donkeys comes by, and the guy's like, "Get out of the way!" There's like seven donkeys all roped together, and I used the donkeys to go up and down the side the hill,
And to carry stuff to the restaurants.
and to carry stuff around. And they're just moving right along. It's like, don't care that there's
They
people
didn't
there,
wait.
and they say, "Get out of the way." And we're just like
Move or get trampled.
up against the wall, trying to get out of the way of these donkeys.
I could just picture that in my mind when you said they carry the food too, and like trays of food just on the back of a donkey. Like it's probably
Maybe not
groceries,
so much
but
like
but I'm like, oh, here's your charcuterie board on the back of a
Yeah.
That's
donkey.
how they
Grab a
deliver
piece.
food to the restaurant.
Oh my gosh, but that feels like such a unique experience. Like where else can you have that happen? Which is the whole purpose of travel like this, right? It's like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, I love
And the
that.
key thing about Santorini is really you should book an excursion to get back because they have the cable car that goes up and down the mountain. And they warned us. Disney Cruise Line did an amazing job during, like, when you go to the shows and stuff, they do like announcements before and after. And even on the TV, they have the morning show. They said, do not take the cable car back to the ship. You will get stuck. And, we tried to look at the line just to see. It was like a 2-hour line, and people were like panicking because the other ship was leaving before Disney and they were trying to let people cut line to get up. And it was just awful because the cable car didn't hold that many people. And
Hmm.
it was a mess. And we actually saw Disney had buses or like cast members positioned nearby to, I think, maybe instead let people take a bus. Like they were trying to like
They had a small
help.
little port dock area where they had the tenders
Yeah.
go there instead, and it was a lot faster to do that.
But you have to drive to the bus from the main part like you see in Santorini. It was probably a 15-20 minute drive
Right.
there.
I think the appeal of the cable car was just like, oh, it's beautiful going up and down the cable car. It's a good experience. So of course everyone wants to do that rather than just take the bus down to the port. But in my opinion, it was beautiful just going,
Yeah.
taking the bus, and I'm right on the cliff, and you're just like, whoa, looking over.
And it's just waiting.
Trust your bus driver.
You don't want to be that person in line going, I'm going to miss my ship. I think they talked about we did wait a while for a few people because it just took
Yeah,
that
they were
long.
still coming. Mhm.
Yeah.
That would give me such stress. I can't even. Like, I'm one of those people that has to be back on the ship like 2 hours before it's leaving anyway. But even just thinking about that from here months later, I'm like, nope, no,
Yeah.
I can't. I can't handle that.
That's why we
Oh,
like to book with Disney the excursions, because we know they'll take care of us, and they're not gonna leave us behind.
yeah. Mike, you mentioned something that actually had freaked me out when we were in Iceland, not with Disney, unfortunately, but the bus drivers and then the cliffs. Like, you have to trust them because they've driven here before. But holy, I can't even. I still, they drive crazy. We actually were driving our own car, but the motor coaches for all the tours that people were doing would fly by us on a road that was like, it felt like 5 feet wide. and like I'm trying to stay on the road and not end up in the lava fields, and they're just like 90 miles an hour and my car is shaking. I'm like, I'm never doing this again. But
Yeah.
I know they do it every day. They definitely know what they're doing, but also I just can't. I need like a blindfold.
Stressful.
We were
Yeah.
100% trusting our bus driver.
We were cheering for him too after he did certain things, like, yeah, you're the man.
Good job.
I love that. I love that. So we know you want to go back to Santorini. Are there any other places that you went that you felt like I want to come back here and spend more time? Because it is kind of like a taste of a bunch of different places rather than full
Yeah.
exploration.
I also really like Athens, Greece, right? Because there's so much to see and do there. It's such a big city that it was nice taste to go there, but I would love to go back to that area and explore a lot more. We walked up, we did an excursion where they took us to the Acropolis and up on the hill. Um, I guess we got really lucky at seeing it too, because just a few days after we left, they closed it because it was so hot. I mean, we
Oh,
were dying the day we were there. I was just like, fanning myself constantly in electrolytes because it was like, I think 100 degrees Fahrenheit when we were there, and they got hotter. And they had to shut it
oh.
down because people were dropping like flies. And I don't think the medics want to keep going up and down the steps to get people, but
Yeah, it is a little bit of a hike
it was
there.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
drop you off down at the
Very bottom.
very bottom, and you got to hike up a lot of steps, and the steps are very smooth
Slippery.
and slippery. So I can't imagine if
Ooh.
it rains, what happens. So it was slippery when it was dry.
Even with good tennis shoes. We both had good grippy tennis shoes on, and I was like holding on to him for dear life in a few places.
It's just it was amazing to see though.
Yeah.
We got lucky. We got to
Wow.
see it.
Wow. Yeah, that scares me too. Apparently, you're going to talk about all the things that give me like fright, like sliding down.
We survived.
Yeah, you're here to tell the tale. You guys also like to scuba dive with sharks. And Shalon will sometimes drop that, like, oh yeah, we're gonna go. I'm like, oh my God, I can't. Now I need to go back. You're back on a boat now that you haven't been eaten by a shark. Thank you.
Right.
Um, okay. So one of the things that I love most, and a lot of people really love about cruising, is the sea days. So this itinerary did have some sea days. What kinds of things did you get into on board? And was it different than what we have in the US, or is it kind of the same type of things?
A lot of the same types of activities. The one thing we really loved was meeting the characters on this cruise because they're all in different outfits. So they're themed to like the area. We had like Spanish Goofy, like Matador Goofy, where he was like using his cape to bullfight, and Greece outfits. And it was just really neat to see that because you never get that in the US. So normally when we're on cruises, we're not big character people. Like I'll wave at them as we go by, but never stand in line. But every time I'm like, "Ooh, let's go get in line with this one. Let's go get in line with this one," because it's a different experience. That was really neat.
Plus, you had the photo pass, so you had to take full advantage of the photo pass
Yes.
because you're a Pearl now. So that's one of the
Yeah, having the unlimited photo package now for me, like I've never really done the photo package before. I know a lot of people do it when they have families and kids and stuff, but for us, we really didn't do it. But now I was like, if we have it for free, let's take advantage of it. And we did. We had so many pictures. It was a blast.
And there were the
Oh,
interactive ones where you did the Star Wars, you held the lightsaber and did lightsaber poses, and there was a Marvel one where you did a Doctor Strange uh, movements to
Yeah,
magical
magic shot. When they
magic
put
shot.
pictures on.
Yeah, and that was fun doing that.
Yeah. One thing they did do that I hadn't seen on a lot of other cruises that are shorter was the How to Cook series. I know I've seen it on some of the longer cruises, but usually 3, 4 night cruises, they don't do them. So it's like in the D lounge, they did some for families and then some that were adults only. So you got like alcohol with it too, like learn how to cook ravioli or whatever. So one of the chefs on board, usually from like Paolo or Remy, would come down, show you how to cook a meal at home, and then they give you a recipe card and all the instructions as you leave as part of it. We have one. I think I just put it away somewhere.
Those lobster ravioli.
Yes, it was so good. And you get to taste it. Like everybody gets a little bite of what they did. And that was really fun.
oh, I
We
love
did a lot
that.
of crafts too. We went
Lots
to a
of
lot of the
things.
craft things, which are fun. Like there was one where we had to fold the
3D ship.
3D ship. It was almost like an origami
I
thing.
was looking to see if I had it out here somewhere again. I think I already
Somewhere.
put it in my cruise box of things.
Yeah, and then made like what was a little hanger for your door.
like door decorations, things like that. So if you didn't bring door decorations, you could make a hanger to put outside instead. It was just really fun. And then the other thing that they did was some talks. So they had a guy, what's his name? Cesar Gallegos from the Disney archives. And he came and did 3 separate talks that we really liked.
Yeah, he was very knowledgeable. Apparently, he used to be or he used to work for Fox. And when Disney acquired Fox, all of he worked archives for them, and then he, of course, became the director of Disney Archives, and all that information for Fox and all those
Things that
things that Disney acquired. He knew all those really well, and of course how they did things, and he was just so knowledgeable about Fox as well as Disney archives, and he talked for about an hour
each time.
Each time,
Yeah,
he was very passionate about what he did.
That was nice to see something different, and that we didn't know because they don't.
He did that.
Yeah, they don't really release those schedules a lot in advance, so sometimes it's kind of a surprise of who you get. I know they've had Broadway stars on Disney ships a lot come and do shows and talks, so you get that kind of stuff on these longer cruises, which is nice.
Yeah, I know Gina, one of our agents who has since retired, but I'm going to go on a transatlantic with her and her husband at some point. And she said that that was part of their favorite thing was that there were just so many things that they don't normally offer because there's not enough time. But Imagineers on board, scavenger hunts, like all of this stuff that you just normally don't get. And she's like, and you've got nothing but time. And I literally am like, sign me up. Like I would go right now if I could. But yeah, that's something that's so cool. So cool. So you packed a lot into this cruise, and I know we've talked a little bit about tips throughout the conversation, but are there any more tips that you think you would share with someone considering a Mediterranean cruise with Disney, other than the obvious, which is to book it with you because you've been there and you can talk them through it? So that's the obvious number one tip we want everybody to walk away from. You want to go with somebody like Shalon who has been there, done that, so she can give you all of this little information, including that restaurant that you don't know the name of right now, but I guarantee you've got it written down somewhere because that's how she rolls.
One thing that we did too for this cruise was we ended up booking a guaranteed stateroom just because it was on sale. And I got to tell you, it worked out okay because we are early risers, but we got put right underneath the gym.
Oh,
and when that gym opened at 6 a.m., somebody hit that treadmill every morning at 6 a.m. and we could hear that sucker firing up.
Yeah.
Like
the constant.
So, something I always talk to clients about is, yes, you can book a guaranteed stateroom to save a decent amount of money, but you have zero control on where that room ends up on the ship. And you got to be okay with that going into it because you could get an amazing room, which I have before, or you could end up underneath the gym.
It was a nice room. Yeah, because we were on deck 10 and we had a really high
overhang too.
Yeah, and then we had the overhang, so it kind of blocked the sun as well, which was kind of nice if you wanted to get out of the sun. But that was the only thing. Luckily, we do wake up early every morning, so it didn't bother us too much. But if you like to sleep in, definitely something to consider.
Yeah, and I do think like that's something we definitely talk to clients about. Like, and if you're willing and it's not going to bother you, but make sure everybody in your group feels the same way, right? Like if you've got one person that's like, no, I really need my sleep, or some people really are against being near an elevator. I never hear the elevators. I've been right next to them before and it has never bothered me. But if you're really sensitive to that, you have to decide what's more important, the savings or the potential for that inconvenience, because to your point, there's no changing it. You don't get to go down to guest services and say, I hear the gym upstairs. They're going to be like, congratulations. Right. But yeah.
Sound machines help though.
Yeah.
If you have a sound machine, that usually drowns out the sounds outside your door. Yeah. I think Cabanas is the other spot that you need to watch out for.
Yeah, if you're in the Deck 10 app, you'll hear Cabanas chair early.
Yes.
In the morning. The other tip that I would say is don't overpack too much because you can do laundry on the ship, right? A lot of people when they're traveling to Europe tend to pack a lot. Maybe pack extra underwear because you're going to sweat a lot in the summer. But you can do laundry we did laundry, I think twice actually on the ship. And it was
really simple to do. I like them in the app. It actually tells you when your laundry's done. So you don't have to just stay in that area. You can wander around, and the app will say, "Oh, your laundry has completed," and you go get it, and then you can put it in the dryer, and they'll say when your dryer is
Right.
completed as well, which is really nice. So, and you can pack
I
a
like
little
that.
lighter. You go for a long trip, because I think ours was 14 days. Yeah.
Oof. All right. So, just to give a little foreshadowing here for our listeners that may not know, even though the cruise is over, we are now going on a different adventure, embarking on that Adventures by Disney Rome escape. Oh, this was the part I was most jealous about, to be sure. So let's talk about that second half of the adventure and tell us how you transitioned from getting off the Disney fantasy and into this Adventures by Disney thing, because I think this is something that people really don't know about that Adventures by Disney experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, there was a little bit of disconnect, I felt like, between Disney Cruise Line and Adventures by Disney. They all knew that we were both doing them and we were connected and whatever. But we didn't get anything in our stateroom until the night before about when we would get off the ship and where to meet people. Luckily, I had already had clients of my own do the exact same trip just a few weeks before. So I'd already been in discussions with them and Disney about it. But yeah, when I talked to like guest services on the ship, hey, do you know what time do we need to get off? I've heard that we might not need to go to our breakfast reservation because we got to get off early, when you have your second dining breakfast. And they're like, yeah, we don't really have anything yet. We'll give it to you the night before. And it literally was the night before. So definitely don't panic if you don't get information because it will come. It just depends on, I guess, their schedules. So we got a letter in our room. It said that we needed to meet just off outside the cruise terminal by 9:30 to meet our Adventures by Disney guide. And we're a trust verify kind of person, people. So we got off the ship early. I think we got off at like 8:30.
We got off early because we thought maybe it would be tough to get through the immigration process.
Yeah.
Which actually ended up being nothing at all. We didn't even have to pull out our passports.
Because we never left the EU on that cruise.
Oh,
Every
okay.
port that we stopped in was still part of the EU. So when you got off the ship, you literally just got off the ship, picked up your luggage, and walked out the door. Zero immigration. And I didn't think about that at the time, but it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So that's one thing you don't have to worry about.
So we were an hour early from where we were supposed to be there, but
So we stood outside sweating for an hour. Luckily, there was restrooms there and there was shade. Yeah.
I think for me personally, I was really excited that this, was happening, and you get on a cruise and you get to the end and everyone's sad because your vacation's over. I wasn't sad because we had 4 more days to go on the second part, which was, I knew it was going to be an incredible experience. So, we weren't sad getting off because we knew this is just continuation of our adventure, and this is a really unique thing that Disney does, in lieu of the cruise line. So
And we walked off. We asked the cast member as soon as we got outside, hey, where do we stand? Because there wasn't really a sign of where to wait for the bus. And when we told him, he's like, oh, yeah, just right here. And it was a little confusing because there was no signs. And we kept seeing other guests come off that were doing the same trip as us. And so we would like look for their luggage tags because Adventures by Disney gives you these orange luggage tags. So you can kind of like pick each other out. And we're like, hey, over here, we tried to start helping people since we already figured it out to wait in this line. And the bus showed up right at 9:15, so about 15 minutes early.
Yep.
Nice big air conditioned bus, which is needed in Europe in the summer. Not all buses are air conditioned, or at least well. It was amazing.
it was that bus was amazing.
It was
Yeah, it was the best bus we've been on the entire Europe vacation.
And we probably had maybe 20 people that were on the cruise, and then the rest were just coming in to do the Adventures by Disney. So we didn't see them until like the welcome dinner later that night. But one of the tour guides, Sebastian, was on the bus. He was the local tour guide from Italy, and so we got to meet him right away. On the drive from the port back to Rome, which was like an hour and a half, actually a little bit longer because we hit traffic on the way. He took time and talked to each family on the bus. Got all of our information. We set up a WhatsApp chat with him and the other adventure guide. So that's how they gave you information every single night. Like, hey, tomorrow morning we're meeting at what time, etc. So they were in constant communication with us, and it was incredible.
I love that. And I feel like they do such a good job of taking care of you. Like it sounds like even just as soon as you stepped on the bus, it's like, don't worry, I got you.
They're not tour guides. They're your new best friends.
Yeah,
Yeah, and they really do treat you like that.
they were amazing.
They just getting to know you and asking about who you are and what your likes and dislikes are, and
Right.
yeah, it was cool. That adds a personal.
And even like I said, I had friends who had done that trip just a few weeks before, and I was like, "Hey, Sebastian, our friends, Cliff and Kelly told us to say hi." He's like, "Oh my god, I remember them. They were so fun." So it was just like connection already. I love this.
And this was your first Adventures by Disney, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I've only done one, and it was a 1-day experience for travel agents in Nashville. And I still talk to the adventure guide. Like Byron, he's actually the one that's on all the videos now, like the training videos that we watch. But they do such an incredible job, and I don't understand how they do it, but getting to know people for real, like it is just such a talent, and they find people that really enjoy people. Lots of people say like, "Oh, I love people." These individuals that do that, they have like such a knack for that. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the guides other than Sebastian. Well, we can hear more about Sebastian, but how they impacted the trip, the things that they brought up, the magical moments that you saw or experienced yourself. Like, I just want to hear kind of that. People don't know a lot about the guided group experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we had the group WhatsApp for us every night, and so they always even said, if you have any questions, even at night, you can text us and ask us questions. Throughout the trip, you do have guided times with them, but then you have free time, and a lot of times they would give you restaurant recommendations. And one night, they recommended a couple of restaurants. I'm like, "Ooh, we want to go here," and the guy was like, "I got you." He messaged the owner of the restaurant, had a table waiting for us when we showed up.
Yeah, the owner comes out and is like, Mike and Shalon?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, that's us.
It
Hi.
was-
They made us feel like a celebrity for a small
Oh my
little
gosh.
restaurant.
it was so cool. Um, I posted a video about it, but you get pins too as part of Adventure by Disney, and they kind of did those as like magical moments. Like during certain times throughout the trip, they would give you like little pins during areas that maybe corresponded to it. So that was really nice. And then I'll get into the end maybe about how they really helped us at the end of our trip,
Yeah.
because that was the biggest part of it. But it was like you said, it's your best friend you have.
By the way, David was the other guy.
They were from the U.S. He was amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you were there for just a couple days because this was a Rome escape. So it was 4 days, right? Like, is 3 or 4?
Yeah, it was like
3
3 nights, 4 days. Yeah.
Okay. Tell us about the highlights. Like, what really stood out to you as far as what you got to see and do while you were there?
Man.
All of it.
The first day we did, it was a lot. It was a lot of walking around. I think we started at the Spanish Steps. What was the name of because there was another guide that joined us, a local guide from Rome. I can't remember his name.
Simone.
Simone.
Written down here. Yeah. Every day you got like an extra local guide too to help out.
Yeah, and I guess he's been doing tours for just a long time, and it knew everything. He gave the details about Rome as we were walking down the streets, just pointing out various pieces of artwork, sculptures as we're walking through, to our next spot. We have never seen or even understood what we were looking at. And we started at the Spanish Steps, and of course, he gave us the rundown about the Spanish Steps weren't they made by the French?
Yeah, I think so.
So it was funny to hear the story like, oh, they're called the Spanish Steps, but the French actually made them. So which was pretty interesting. And he made some jokes about that. And I guess we learned, because I would have never known this, as we got down to the bottom of the Spanish Steps, there's this beautiful fountain down there. I was like, oh, that's a beautiful fountain. He's like, you can drink from that fountain. Like, but it's a
public fountain.
It's a fountain. Like, yeah, it comes from the aqueducts, and it's filtered. It's got this amazing filtration system built in all the way back to Roman times, so it's still kind of the original. And he said, just get your water bottle and fill it up and just drink away. And it was very,
very
tasty water. It was better than the water that we have here in Arizona.
I mean, you get it right from the spout. You don't get it from down in the fountain where people have already touched it. But
as it's coming out of the sculptures, obviously. But that was surprising.
I did see your social media video with that, and I was like, she has lost her mind. Why is she drinking from a fountain? And then,
So good.
yeah, I love that.
I would think that the Disney, I was actually thinking to myself, like, well, the Disney park should have these fountains everywhere so that people could just be like, fill up from there. That would be great, especially on those.
Florida water might not be the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it's filtered in the parks, it still tastes awful. But
Right.
the amazing thing that they did too on that day is they kept us walking downhill 90% of the time. The way they
Oh.
oriented the tour. And I was like, thank you, thank you, thank you, because it was so hot. And it just made a big difference that we weren't climbing up down it because you could easily do that in Rome. And we did on our own one day because we didn't know what we were doing. We just kind of went off walking. We're like, this is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
That really is one of those examples of how they think of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the route made sense too. After that was the Trevi Fountain, you know, and they gave us some tips on how to see that and things to do, what to do with the coin.
Yeah.
You know, throw the coin over your shoulder.
Right shoulder.
Yeah, throw left hand over right shoulder. Right.
I think I don't remember now.
Oh man. Yeah, if you do it, one coin means you're coming back to Rome. 2 coins means you're going to find love, and 3 coins means
you're getting rid of love.
Love.
Never throw 3 coins in, or it could be really bad.
So we threw 1 coin.
Yeah.
They also gave us little vouchers for gelato when we were there. So that was another like little magical surprise. There was a gelato shop right nearby. And so when we did our stop near the Trevi Fountain, they're like, here's your voucher, go get you some gelato. So that was nice to have that little treat in the middle of the day. And Mickey covered it for us.
Right. Oh, I love that. So I heard that the gelato was fantastic. Is it really better than what we have in the U.S.?
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's better.
It's better.
Yeah. A lot of people say, oh, this one gelato place in Rome is the best, but we tried at least 5 or 6 different places.
Yeah.
And it was hard to tell which one was the best because they were all just
really good.
I think you like the dark chocolate.
Yeah, I had one that was like 85% dark chocolate gelato. Oh,
yeah. Oh, wow.
I was going to say, we also went to that same day. I mean, we packed it in. We went to the Pantheon. Always hard to say. And, you know, they arranged our time so we didn't have to wait in a long line, which was nice because there's, you know, quite a bit of people going in there. So we had about 25 minutes or so inside there to look around. And then after that, we had like a private pizza tasting lunch, which was nice. So we went into a restaurant. We had our own little area and we all got to taste 4 different types of pizza.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a nice like break in the middle of the day to sit down and get some air conditioning. Talk to the guide some more. And then we did head off on a bus with air conditioning because we had to go to the Coliseum, which is on the other side of town. So they were nice to not make us walk that far in the heat. And then we did a guided tour at the Coliseum where we picked up a 4th guide because they wanted to break us into smaller groups at that time. So we got a 4th guide at that time. I don't know if I wrote her name down here. She was really, really awesome. That was cool to see. I think that was your favorite thing, was seeing the Coliseum.
Oh, it's impressive. It's way more impressive seeing it in person than seeing it in the movies and, you know, the documentaries. It's just that. Yeah. And the most impressive thing about it is when it was built, you know, and
what they did
to, you know, accomplish the feat. It's incredible. It rivals things that are even built today.
Tell us a little bit about that, because I know nothing other than I recognized it in the video that you posted, that I've seen it in movies before, but that's literally all I know about it.
I mean, that's where they did like all the, you know, the fights with the different gladiators. It was like their entertainment, basically, back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
It was just insane. Yeah. And thousands upon thousands of people would be in that area.
And of course, you know, the animals that they brought in, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know,
it's an interesting history. And you can see some of the seats too. Like some of the seats are still kind of intact where it had people's names kind of like engraved in it.
Well, they were like senators.
Yeah, so like you go to a football stadium now, you get like the box seats, right, for the rich and famous people. It was like you could see the names like engraved into the stone of like.
So there used to be a lot more marble on the Colosseum too. You know, of course, it was taken over time and moved to the Vatican. Actually, we found. So you know, as the fall of Rome occurred, a lot of the marble was repurposed to the Vatican. And you can tell that when you go to the Vatican. Oh, okay, there's a lot of marble here. It has to come from somewhere else. Yeah. But just walking around it, it's still standing to this day, and people. It was packed in there, full of people. So it's so strong still to this day, standing.
Yeah.
And
It was cool.
the first place they took us we were kind of on the ground floor
Mhm.
and like looking down into it on all the different corridors and places where they would lift
Like the trapdoors.
the trapdoors. They had trapdoors where either people would fall into or things would come out. And just like in the movie Gladiator, they talked about that. There's some accuracies and inaccuracies about the movie, but they said that stuff came out to attack the gladiators and add a little flair to the excitement to the crowd. They said the flooding thing, Gladiator 2, I think they were talking about that, where the sharks and
Yeah, that's clearly.
they were like, what the heck? That was crazy. Like, that did not happen. That was strictly for entertainment. And what was it? There was one cat.
There's cat. Well, yeah. If you saw some of my Instagram stories, my goal was like find all the European cats, and I did.
Uh-huh.
And there's actually one that lives. There's a few that lived there in the Coliseum, and they had a cat house off to the side and food and water where they would feed them. And we saw one of them. Like, yay, Coliseum kitty!
Oh, that's so
cute.
funny.
And I had a little house there and just lived in the Coliseum.
Awesome.
So
That's great. All right. Anything else you want to tell us about Adventures by Disney before we get to the bump in the road that you had?
Yeah, so the Vatican. So that threw us off a little bit because when we had done our research for this, the biggest thing we were excited was getting into the Vatican early, right? Like a lot of times with Adventures by Disney, you get a lot of access that other tour groups don't. And so we were expecting to get in really early and have it more quiet. And unfortunately, that didn't happen because they've changed some of the rules in the past year or two.
so the Pope, I think the Pope changed some rules when Pope Leo took over.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we didn't have like the early entry without the hordes of people. We were in there with everybody, but it was still absolutely incredible. I mean, we had a entry time, so we didn't have to really wait in line that long. And our tour guides kind of broke us up, and we actually got really lucky because the way they had to break up the groups of people, we ended up with just one other couple, and we had our own private tour guide, which isn't normally the thing because I think they had like groups of 20 or less. And just the way it worked out, it was just the four of us. So it was kind of nice that we had like our own private guide in a way, touring the Vatican City area, the Sistine Chapel. The Sistine Chapel was
The painting is
beautiful.
just as incredible
Oh my
as
gosh.
you can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my thought was, and I hate to say it, but it felt smaller than I expected. It was kind of almost like when you see the Mona Lisa for the first time in person, you're like, that's it. I mean, it's still a big, very insanely impressive room, but I feel like the way we've seen pictures of it and stuff in movies,
In the movies,
it's portrayed as giant. And it is a big building, but it just felt smaller. And you're not really supposed to talk in there, but people were still kind of chatting, which I was surprised.
Yeah, they were letting them talk, and the only thing they stopped us from doing was taking pictures.
Yeah,
So they were really strict on the picture thing, but the talking is, I guess they just gave up trying. Before we even went in there, or in a quiet area, our tour guide was talking about the paintings and the history about them, so we understood what we were looking at because it's not just the one painting where you see the finger of God touching Adam, but there's all the other ones too. That's the whole story, just different depictions of stories in the Bible, and he went through each one to kind of talk about it, and as we're looking at it, like, okay, that makes sense.
When you point out,
what was the one story he talked about? Well, some of them were kind of provocative. We never really knew about. Like, I don't really talk about that in here. But we're like, wow, okay.
And I felt like we got that information because it was adults in our group. There's just the four of us versus the other groups had some kids in it. So I don't think they got that information, but they told us some interesting things.
Michelangelo had a little revenge on the Pope at the time in one of his paintings where he portrayed him as, I think he painted him in the hell version of the Sistine Chapel because he didn't like the Pope. I guess the Pope pointed him to do this, and of course Michelangelo opposed, but he couldn't oppose. He had to actually go and do this task. and he painted the Pope in hell, and yeah,
It's interesting.
there was a snake fighting him,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
yeah, I won't say. Just imagine where
You
the
can,
worst place to get bit is, and he
oh,
painted that,
wow.
and yeah, our tour guide pointed it out, and you look at it, you're like, holy cow, it's still there. That's what was the Pope at the time, whatever, I forget which Pope that was. But
and
Wow.
then
all the
and then after that we went into St. Peter's Basilica, which I don't think I expected it to be so massive. Like it was the opposite effect of Sistine Chapel. You walked into St. Peter's, you're just like, wow. It just like takes your breath away. It was absolutely gorgeous in there.
the sculptures, the
Mosaics.
mosaics. Actually, we were looking at the wall. We're like, "That's a beautiful painting," and our tour guide said, "That's not a painting. That's
Mosaic
mosaic."
done by hand.
Yeah,
Like millions of pieces of tile and other things.
yeah, to make this beautiful, which looks like a painting, but it's not.
Yeah.
And they're all over the entire basilica. We got to go through the holy doors because it's the Jubilee. So
Yeah, that was
every
cool.
every 25 years they open the doors, and you can touch the doors as you go through. They actually encourage you to touch the doors.
Yeah, it
Wow.
was really neat to see that.
And they're closed now, right?
I think
They're
it's
still
still
open?
open for like the year. It's like a year thing.
Okay, so 1 year.
Yeah. And then after that, because we learned about the mosaics in there, they took us to a mosaic class. So we went just around the corner, still inside the Vatican City, to a private room, and we learned to make our own mosaics. We got to bring them home with us. So that was a surprise. They were really heavy. So definitely keep in mind that if you're doing some of these tours, they're probably going to have you bring home some souvenirs. So you need to save a little bit of weight and or space in your luggage.
Oh,
But it was
yeah.
cool. We learned how hard it is to make a mosaic, and we made like a basic one, and it was still really hard.
Mm-hmm. So we just can imagine that
Mm-mm.
portrait done, how long it must have taken to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. You had a little bump in the road on your last day with the airport transfer. It sounds like Adventure by Disney took care of you, but tell us about that and what happened and what you were thinking, because, oh my gosh, I was freaking out for you.
Yeah. So yeah, when you do Adventures by Disney, they do transfers both before and after. So whether you were on a cruise leaving or coming in, or if you're coming in at the airport, they would meet you at the airport. And then the reverse at the end of your trip, they take you from your hotel back to the airport. A lot of people just leave the next day. We chose to stay an extra day, and we think, I mean, it didn't really affect it, I don't think, because what happened to the driver is he got stuck somewhere. But they still took care of it. So, they were supposed to pick up our luggage around 9 o'clock, I think,
Mm-hmm.
from our hotel room. So we had put our luggage outside, put the tags on it. And, we kept going through the peephole. Our luggage is still there. Our luggage is still there. What's going on? So we're like, all right, we'll just take it downstairs. And we didn't mind and wait for the driver. And so it was getting close to the time for the driver to show up. And he wasn't showing up. So of course I'm getting like, okay, we got to figure this out. So we start going to WhatsApp, right? Because even though our trip was over, we still had the ability to message our Adventures by Disney guides. So we messaged the guides, and Sebastian responded because I think David had actually already gone back to the U.S.
Yeah, he was on his way back.
to do another tour. Sebastian, being the local guide, was still there. And so he called us right away after we messaged him, and he's like, hey, I got this. Let me see if I can get a hold of the driver and see what's going on. Found out our driver got stuck at the airport. He couldn't get out in time to get us, which was unfortunate that the driver didn't take initiative to like reach out. It's a cultural thing. Maybe he's probably like, whatever, we'll figure it out. So
Yeah.
our guy got on the phone, called us, said, hey, give the phone to the bellhop out front. And I mean, they all spoke English at the hotel, but of course, speaking in Italian for them is obviously much more comfortable. And I appreciated that he did that. And he talked to them and said, can you please get them a cab ASAP? Tell them this to get them to the airport at this time or whatever. And we had a cab in like 5 minutes at that point, and we were on our way. Once we were in the cab, he called back and said, hey, let me talk to your cab driver as well. And again, was speaking to him in Italian, just giving him instructions. So we felt well taken care of. The cab driver went a little fast to get there. So I think he got the note of, I mean, we weren't in a situation if we were going to miss our flight. We still had a couple hours. But we thought maybe if immigration or things were busy. But I appreciated his speediness. He wasn't driving like reckless, but
Yeah, we're getting a shot like, oh wow, okay, we're pretty close to an accident here, but
Yeah.
we're gonna be all right.
he was doing fine. Yeah, I mean, we got there with plenty of time to spare. We paid for the cab, and then Sebastian said, send me the receipt of what you just paid, and then they got us reimbursed for it right away.
I think he Venmoed you like immediately.
Right away. So, I'm sure Disney probably takes care of that kind of stuff in the background when things happen, because normally the transfers are included and there's no money that exchanges hands when you would go to and from the airport. It's to be covered. But, it took a stressful situation and he took care of it right away. I mean, I know we're pretty resourceful, so we would have figured it out regardless, but it was nice that we didn't have to. So it was a nice touch that they did that.
Yeah,
And we
I
still
like
had
that.
a good hour and a half once we got through security. Luckily, security was kind of dead that day. We saw the next day was packed. I think we just got lucky. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think the fact that they did take care of us at the end kind of proves that Adventure by Disney really they do care and they take care of the details to make sure that you're safe and that you get to your destination without any incident. So, for me, if I'm definitely convinced.
Sold.
Yeah, like if we want to go to a place like China, Adventures by Disney is something that we will consider heavily for doing a place like that. Because it would be a difficult logistics for us to navigate. Well, Adventures by Disney would be able to take care of that, and I have that confidence. Just by that experience alone, that they'd be able to take care of us. So I don't know that's a lot of fear with people when they go to Europe and a country they don't really understand or feel uncomfortable going to. Doing a tour like that should help bring them comfort that they'll be taken care of.
Yeah, I know. I think the thing that I love most about Adventures by Disney is the fact that they have the guides from the US and then the local guide. So like you have that ability that you don't have to worry about that communication issue or anything like, but then you have someone who lives there, who is representing their own country. And so you get some of that behind the scenes thing that you wouldn't necessarily get if you were just kind of bringing in two guys from the US, right? They know a lot, but it's not quite the same. And I think the same thing about thinking about either China or Japan, like those places, like being able to just relax and be like, I don't need to try to read the street signs. I don't need to try to, right? Like I want to learn some things for sure about the culture and the place that I am, but it's not the pressure of like, okay, if you don't know how to find a bathroom, you can't figure out how to say bathroom in whatever language this is, you're in trouble. Whereas, Adventures by Disney, you can just be like, potty, I need to go to the bathroom, please.
Yeah.
So. So now that you've done both the Disney Cruise Line and Adventures by Disney in Europe, looking back, was there anything that really surprised you or something that you just definitely didn't expect?
I don't think so. Just because I feel like I know Disney's quality when it comes to service and vacations, and they've lived up to the hype or my expectations. Maybe the helping at the end of the trip like that was like a surprise, but it wasn't at the same time, right? Like deep down, Disney's going to take care of you.
I think for me, a lot of times when we do a cruise, the 7-day cruise is awesome. It's a perfect amount of time. And you feel like, man, I wish I could have gone more.
So add 2 more days.
So adding onto it and making it longer, I actually felt at the end of it that, you know what, I'm relaxed. That was an amazing vacation. And I feel content going home now, because it was perfect. I feel relaxed. I can go back to work and be refreshed and start anew. So maybe that to me was the surprise that I was content in the end of vacation. It was just
not wanting more like you normally do.
Not wanting more. Now it's been some time. I'm ready for the next one. But at the time, it's like that. That was epic. That was an epic vacation. I'm content.
Yeah.
If you had to do it differently next time, would you have done the Rome escape before instead of the after, or did you like the way that worked out?
Yeah, I think before.
I don't know. I liked it after because I always hate the end of the cruise. It's so sad.
I guess so.
I like it continuing on.
I just remember how exhausted we were by the end of the trip at that point. But I don't know, maybe being on the cruise first was better because it allowed our bodies to adjust a little bit easier. Like our first day was a sea day, so we didn't have to get up and get going. And so you got a couple of days to adjust to the time zone. So I mean, maybe for that it was a better way to do the cruise first. I just felt really tired by the end of the trip, but it was also insanely hot. And I think that
Yeah.
contributed to our tiredness.
It was hot.
Yeah.
I think what I would have done differently, if maybe because originally when we booked this trip back in 2020, like I said in the beginning, we actually had itinerary to first start in Venice. We were going to start in Venice, and then we were going to go to Florence, and then finish in Rome, and then do the cruise.
All on our own.
All on our own. We were just kind of going to get a rental car and travel. So I still, and maybe we could go back and try that. But I would have loved to have added those on there too, to see Venice and Florence. Oh man, even Milan.
Well, Adventures by Disney does do.
Sebastian was talking about Milan a little bit. Yeah.
They do longer Rome trips, right? So if you look at Adventures by Disney, they have Italy trips that are much longer. And they hit a lot of these locations. So
we actually passed that other group.
We did. We saw the other Adventures by Disney group when we were in the Vatican. We're like, hey,
you could tell by their lanyard they're Adventures by Disney.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, and I will say, because of the training that we have, and Shalon, you probably saw this too, that Adventures by Disney is the most, how do I say this? The highest return of guests for any Disney product. So people go back and do Disney World all the time, Disney Cruise Line, all of that. But the most returning guests are on Adventures by Disney because of how that experience goes. So the idea of doing more of them is not surprising. That's awesome.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it now. Yeah. I think I'd love to do something in South America.
Yeah.
We were looking at the Peru one.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing that one.
And they give you repeat discounts, like a repeat person. So a lot of times once you've booked your first one, afterwards they tend to offer like $500 off for your next, which is a nice perk. So
do they have statuses like, you can become
Pearl?
No. Adventures by Disney Pearl status?
Talk about all my money.
No retirement for us.
I've just given up on that. Now I live by the philosophy that sometimes people don't get to retire, that they don't make it that far. So that's what I'm doing, is I'm retiring now while still working and spending all of the money. Who knows?
Got to do it while we can.
You take it with you, so add to that life resume list.
Yeah,
Exactly. I love it. All right. Well, Shalon and Mike's journey is proof that with the right planning and a little Disney magic, even the most ambitious European adventure can be smooth, mostly unforgettable, and full of once-in-a-lifetime moments. If today's episode sparked your wanderlust, reach out. Whether you're thinking about a Disney cruise, an Adventure by Disney tour, or a custom itinerary, we are here to help bring your vacation dreams to life. You can find Shalon on our website at mickyguru.com/Shalon. And she's also on the socials. And I got to tell you, she does some of the best social content out there. It makes you laugh. It makes you think. She's just a rock star when it comes to that. So you can find her on Instagram at mickyguru_Shalon. And all of that information is on her website. So you can get it all right there. And we've also dropped it in the show notes so that it's easy to find. And if you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing and leaving a review wherever you listen. It really does help other people find the show. Thank you for being here with us. See you real soon.
Thanks for listening to Talk Travel to Me. We hope this episode cracked open inspiration for the treasures that await you at your next dream destination. If you love the show, please review, subscribe, and share it with a friend. At Mickey Guru Travel Company, we're your trusted guides for theme parks, cruises, resorts, and more. Visit our website at mickyguru.com to learn more and book your vacation today.